everyone, welcome back to our ENSO B Corp journey vlog. So last week we talked about the evaluation stage, and now we've moved on to the verification queue. The verification queue actually has even more tasks than the evaluation queue, which makes sense because it's all about starting to upload your documentation, particularly for those impact business models that we've discussed. And we need to look at some specific questions that have been flagged by B Corp for extra information or justification from our side. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of what that looks like. We're currently in the process of uploading all that documentation, and I'll tell you a little bit about why that's not 100% done yet, what the challenges were, what made it easier, and we will go from there. All right, so we're back in this ever familiar review section of the B impact assessment. So you can see we're done with the evaluation queue, the evaluation section, and now we are in the verification queue. What you'll find interesting here and what I found interesting is that we do actually already have a task in verification, and I will talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk through this operational highlights section. So basically, at this stage, they've flagged a couple of questions in each of the 5 categories from the B impact assessment, and they want you to give more information for 2 of the flag questions in each category. I will show you what is called the verification report, where you can see all of these flagged questions and kind of choose from there which ones you'll provide more context and more information for. So that's something we're working on. We're still in the process of finishing up this legal requirement review and should be done very shortly. And it's something that we do absolutely have to have done at this stage and before we move to verification. Before we move to the verification report, let's talk about the IBM documentation a little bit here. So if you selected any impact business models in your B impact assessment, you will have to upload documentation at this point in your certification journey. And so, again, just like the operational highlights, your IBM questions that need documentation are flagged within that verification report that I'll show you in a moment. And they have a little bit of a different icon, and so it's very easy to differentiate where you just need some explanation and where you need specific documentation. I'll show you what we did and how that all worked when we get to the verification report. Impact business models, they carry a lot of points and they carry a lot of information about our businesses. So it makes sense that we're going to have to do a little bit of a deeper dive into that to be verified and then to move to hopefully the certification stage. As promised, here is the verification report. So this has all of those questions, whether through the operational highlights or the impact business models that have been flagged for more information. So first, let's talk about the operational highlights. You have to pick 2 of these flagged questions in every single category. And if for some reason there aren't 2 that come up in this verification report, just do as many as are there, and you should be all set. So within workers, community, and environment for us, we went through and put extra information for 2 different ones. I did upload some documents as part of that extra information and explanation. It was really easy to do this because if you've been watching our whole vlog series, you've seen how we organized all of the documentation we thought we might need in the ENSO platform as we were doing the B impact assessment. So I came in kind of wondering how long this process would take to do the operational highlights, and it really was quick. I probably sat down for about 45 minutes to an hour just because I wanted to make sure everything was well explained and well organized, but it definitely would have taken me longer if I had to dig through everything and find those policies and find that information as I was doing it. Well worth looking at it while you're doing the B impact assessment. So now moving more specifically to the impact business models and specific documentation requests. So you can see up here it says that our documentation is at 40%. That means that we've added documentation for 40% of the questions that require it. This little symbol right here, the cloud with the arrow in it, means it's marked for documentation. And so our revenue from last year, proof of our legal requirement, and then in customers, this is where our big impact business model sits. So they needed some specific information there. And I'm still working through a bit of this. So I'm mostly done with a lot of the information that they need for the impact business models. But one thing that I did not pull during the B impact assessment phase was like proof of our revenues, like our returns from the revenue service here in Ireland, just to prove our business revenue. So luckily, my team is on that, trying to get all that together for me, and which is really, really helpful. And again, proves how important it is to have people that you can go to and get all this information from in a timely manner to keep this moving. As we continue through the verification queue and into verification, we'll keep you updated through these vlogs. Just a couple key takeaways I want to leave you with for this section of our B Corp journey. So first, it is so important to be as organized as possible going through the B impact assessment. And when you're answering those questions, make sure you know what you would use to back up each of those answers. And it makes this process so much easier. Like, I genuinely think it cut the time by at least in half, probably more, that it would have taken me to go through the verification questions that were assigned to us. So definitely, whether it's the ENSO platform, an Excel sheet, another way of organizing, whatever you want to do, organize your information during the BIA process. Something that I've said many a time, but I'm just going to continue to reiterate. We can't control how long we're in each of the queues, but we can control how responsive we are when we get tasks. It's really important for us to be on top of it, to kind of have that information ready so we can keep the process moving. To be honest, like the evaluation process and being the evaluation queue was definitely quicker than I expected. We'll see how that goes with the verification side. And this might be a little bit longer because it's definitely a little bit more in depth, but I'm very excited to kind of see how this process continues. So those are my two main takeaways that I want to leave with you. And we're so excited to continue sharing our B Corp journey with you. And we will see you next time.